The opening scene introduces Momo, one of the manga's central characters, as she stands face to face with her boyfriend, their conversation quickly escalating into tension. The boyfriend leans and says, "If you're not going to lend me money, we can't go on a date today." Of course, if you're reasonable and put out instead, that works too. Love hotels on you, though. The disrespect in his words makes Momo snap. She launches a high kick at him, aiming to knock some sense into him, but he blocks her kick with ease. Determined, she follows up with punches, but he deflects them all effortlessly. Then, without hesitation, he strikes back, landing a hard kick to her stomach. The blow sends Momo to the ground, clutching her belly in pain. This brutal moment ends their relationship, with Momo hurt both physically and emotionally. In the next panel, Momo is sitting with her friends, venting her frustration about the breakup, but instead of offering comfort, her friends are teasing her. "You should be comforting me. He was my first boyfriend," Momo protests. One of her friends sighs and says bluntly, "I told you not to get involved with that guy. You can't even name one good thing about him, can you?" Momo hesitates for a moment, then blurts out, "He looked like Ken Takakura." Her friend groans, resting her head in her hand. "Ugh, here we go again. You're unbelievable. You make me sick." But Momo doesn't get why they don't see the appeal of men like Ken Takakura. "Guys like that are extinct," her other friend chimes in. The next scene shows Momo walking down the hallway, her head hanging low in disappointment. "I won't find another Ken," she mutters to herself. All she really wanted was someone to console her, to understand how she felt. As she drifts through the halls, lost in thought, her attention is caught by a commotion in one of the classrooms. Peeking in, she sees a group of students bullying a quiet boy. They're throwing paper balls at him, but now one of them wraps a magnet in paper, ready to hurl it with more force. Before the boy can flinch, Momo strides into the room and plops herself down in front of the boy. "What you reading?" she asks casually. The boy stammers, but before he can say much, Momo's sharp glare made the bullies quickly back off, abandoning their plan. Realizing they've given up so easily, Momo frowns in disappointment. "So lame," she mutters and starts to walk away. All she wanted was a fight, a chance to unleash her pent-up frustration, but instead, the bullies folded without a challenge. As Momo walks away from the classroom, she hears a voice call out, "Miss Momo Ayasai, I know what you're into," the boy she just helped says, catching up to her. She glances over her shoulder, irritated. "How many times are you going to repeat yourself? Just say it already," she snaps. The boy adjusts his glasses, his tone serious. "For someone like you to talk to someone like me, it can only mean one thing." Momo raises an eyebrow, unsure where this is going. "I think you've got the wrong idea. Just forget what happened back there," she says, trying to dismiss him. But the boy pulls out a book and holds it up. "You're into the paranormal, aren't you? That's why you sat with me." Momo blinks, confused before sighing. "I'm not into aliens, and I don't even believe they exist," she replies flatly. The boy looks unfazed. "I'm not talking about UFOs. I'm talking about UAP." Momo groans, already losing patience. "Can I go now?" "Wait, please," the boy insists. He starts rattling off facts about UAP, even mentioning the American military's confirmation of their existence. Finally, Momo snaps. "Will you please shut up? I'm dealing with a broken heart, and all this nerdy crap is giving me a headache. This is why you don't have any friends." The boy falls silent, looking genuinely hurt. Momo realizes she's gone too far. "I'm sorry," she mutters, her tone softening. "I shouldn't have said that." Trying to explain herself, she adds, "I don't believe in aliens, but I do believe in spirits." The boy stares at her for a moment before bursting out laughing. "Spirits? There's no such thing." Momo's eyes widen in shock. "I went along with your nonsense, and you have the nerve to shut me down?" The boy glares back. "Do not belittle the paranormal." But Momo smirks and drops a bombshell. "My grandma is a spirit medium." The boy freezes, completely taken aback. "Have you ever seen an exorcism? Like the fits and stuff?" Momo asks. "Illness can cause fits. That's no proof that spirit exists," the boy replies. Now Momo is annoyed. She asks him, "Have aliens ever offered you a ride in their UFO?" The boy huffs, frustrated. "You're an idiot. Your argument doesn't make any sense." Their bickering grows louder, and Momo's friends happen to pass by. They glance over and whisper to each other. Looks like Momo's already forgotten her ex. And she's picked him of all people? Momo got angry and said, "If I can prove that spirits are real, you have to be my personal servant." The boy, just as determined, accepted the challenge and countered, "Then if I can prove aliens exist, you'll become my servant." The scene cuts to Nagi Hospital, where Momo is determined to prove that aliens aren't real. The stakes are set, and the battle of beliefs is about to begin. The eerie atmosphere intensifies as Momo walks through the hallway, muttering nervously to herself. "What is this place? It's so creepy, and you're telling me this is a hotspot for aliens?" Meanwhile, over the phone, the boy's voice trembles as he explains. "They say, the Nagi Hospital is practically the holy land for UFOs. If you call for a UFO from the roof, you'll definitely be abducted." Momo grimaces, unable to make sense of what he's saying. Abducted for what? For experiments, the boy replies ominously. Momo raises an eyebrow. Have they ever experimented on you? There's a pause. Maybe they have, the boy admits. Momo is stunned. What? How would you not know? They erase your memories after it's over. Rolling her eyes, Momo asks. Fine, but have you ever actually seen a UFO? The boy dodges the question, and before Momo can press further, he reaches his destination. He takes a deep breath and tries to sound confident. Now, I'll prove to you that spirits aren't real. But Momo isn't fooled. She smirks, noticing his shaky voice. You don't believe in ghosts, but you're clearly terrified of them, she teases. The boy snaps back. Stop talking nonsense. You've never even seen a ghost, so why do you believe in them? Momo sighs. Like I told you, my grandma is a spirit medium. I've believed in spirits my whole life because of her. My parents weren't around, so it was just me and my grandma. She made me do rituals all the time, even on my way to school. People laughed at me for it, but I couldn't stop. If I didn't do them, it upset her, and I didn't want to hurt her feelings. But there was one boy I liked back then. He made fun of me for it. I got so mad, I said terrible things to my grandma and stopped talking to her for a long time. I even gave up on the rituals. But deep down, I've always admired her. Even if I've never seen a spirit myself, I still believe in her and what she does. The boy, moved by her story, doesn't argue this time. Momo breaks the silence. So, why do you believe in aliens? The boy hesitates, suddenly nervous. Why do you need a reason to like something? Momo notices how much calmer he sounds over the phone compared to earlier. You don't stammer as much when we're talking like this, she points out. He shrugs. Maybe it's because you're easy to talk to. Suddenly the boy turned his head, and there this mysterious old lady stating in front of him. She said, I'll let you suckle my tits if you let me gobble your schlong. What's wrong? Momo shouts through the phone. Whatever you do, don't run. But the boy is already bolting. It's just an old lady, a creepy, horny old lady, he yells, trying to convince himself. Momo's voice grows frantic. That's no old lady. It's Turbo Granny. If you let her catch you, she'll curse you. The boy grabs his bike and pedals furiously, but Turbo Granny leaps ahead, landing directly in his path. Momo panics as she hears the commotion. Occult-kun? Are you there? Say something. Before she can react further, Momo senses something in front of her. She looks up, her blood running cold. 3 strange humanoid figures stand at the end of the dark hallway. The figures move toward her, forcing her to retreat. She turns and runs, but they give chase. Within moments, they catch her, tearing at her clothes in the struggle until she's nearly naked. The scene shifts. Momo awakens, bound to a chair with her hands and legs tied. One of the figures steps forward and speaks. Hello, human. We are the Serpoians, from the planet Serpo. Please don't be afraid. We are a friendly species. Momo glares at them. Friendly people don't strip girls naked. Where are my clothes? The alien gestures to a pile of shredded fabric. Your belongings are being handled with care. You call this care? Momo snaps. You owe me new clothes. Ignoring her protests, the alien continues. We are an advanced species. As all Serponians are male, we reproduce using cloning technology. However, cloning has caused stagnation in our evolution and eliminated all emotion. To save our kind, we need reproductive functions from your species. Momo freezes. What? A machine shaped like a penis emerges from the alien's body. We will now perform the sex act. Afterward, we will extract your womb and banana organs for research. Momo's face contorts in horror. What? You're out of your mind. Momo wasn't about to let these creepy aliens have their way. Her eyes narrowed as she shouted defiantly. You think I'm just going to let you do this? I've dated scumbags before and still kept my virginity intact, and I'm saving it for someone like Ken Takakura, not for some slimy alien. But the Serpo aliens were relentless. They weren't here for negotiation. They had a different method in mind. They began manipulating her brainwaves with psychokinesis, trying to get inside her head, to arouse her, to break her will. But Momo wasn't going down without a fight. Her resistance was so fierce that the aliens couldn't help but admire her willpower. But their patience was wearing thin. If she won't cooperate, we'll take her womb by force, one of them hissed, his voice cold. Momo screamed, her voice shaking with fear. Please, stop. Just as the situation seemed hopeless, Momo's phone rang, its sudden sound startling the aliens. It was Occult-kun. One of the aliens reached to pick it up, but before they could react, out of nowhere, Turbo Granny burst out. Before anyone could even blink, Turbo Granny had bitten one of the aliens and ripped the machine. Miss Ayase, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to get cursed by Turbo Granny. Momo's heart skipped a beat. Occult-kun? You came to save me? The aliens were frozen in shock. What? How can this even be? We don't have the technology to travel through phones. How is this possible? But it was clear that Occult-kun was in pain. Help me, I can't control myself. Now, Turbo Granny had fully possessed his body. Occult-kun was trying to hold on to his control, but it was hopeless. The spirit was far too powerful. One of the Serpo growled, Human, you have no right to enter this place. Leave now, or we will kill you. But Turbo Granny's speed was unmatched. The aliens couldn't target her with their psychokinesis fast enough. With every move, Turbo Granny tore through their devices, ripping apart their precious banana-extracting organs. But finally, On of the Serpos managed to lock his powers on Turbo Granny, slamming her into the wall with overwhelming force. Occult-kun, are you okay? Momo shouted. The Serpo now turned their attention to Occult-kun. Now we'll take his banana organ. Despite everything, they still believed they could maintain a friendly relationship with humans. Occult-kun, broken and emotional, cried out, "You can have anything that's mine. My whole life. I've wanted to meet aliens. I thought we could be friends because no one else wanted to be. No one ever came when I called, except Miss Ayasai. She's the only one who stood up for me. If you hurt her, I swear I'll make you regret it." Momo's eyes widened, and she screamed, "You can do it, Occult-kun. Show them what you're made of." But before he could make a move, the Serpo slammed him into the wall again. "Miss Ayase, I don't think I can do this." Occult-kun's voice cracked with defeat. Momo felt her heart drop. "Are you really giving up that easily?" she snapped. But before the aliens could harm him further, they shifted their focus back to Momo, continuing their twisted plan to extract her womb. In the middle of it all, something clicked. Momo felt a surge of energy as the alien attempted to manipulate her emotions, and suddenly, the ritual her grandmother had once told her about resurfaced in her mind. "Why am I remembering this now?" she wondered. "I'm sorry, Grandma. I was so embarrassed back then." Confusion clouded her mind, but she focused on the chi her grandmother had taught her, gathering all her strength. With a burst of energy, she broke free of the aliens' influence, shattering their control over her. "Miss Ayase, you have paranormal abilities," Occult-kun exclaimed, his eyes wide with astonishment. Momo, just as shocked, replied, "I don't even know how I did that." The Serpo were equally confused. How? How can someone who couldn't use psychokinesis before overpower our abilities? Then one of them realized, "It's because I overstimulated her brainwaves with my psychokinesis. Her chakra must have opened up." Momo's eyes widened as the truth dawned on her. Her grandmother had been right all along. She wasn't just some normal girl, she was capable of far more than she had ever imagined. With newfound power, Momo kicked the Serpo so hard that it crashed through the wall of the UFO. The ship began to malfunction, alarms blaring as fire erupted all around them. "Occult-kun, are you okay?" Momo yelled. "We need to get out of here, now!" But to her surprise, Occult-kun attacked her instead, still under the influence of Turbo Granny. Momo quickly suppressed him with her own psychokinesis, pushing Turbo Granny's spirit out of his body. But the curse hadn't lifted. Momo was confused. Why? Why isn't the curse gone? Turbo Granny laughed cruelly, her voice echoing in the air. "I still have his schlong. As long as I have that, the curse will remain in place. If you want it back, come to the tunnel. This place is too far from there." Before Momo could do anything, Turbo Granny vanished in a flash. Momo and Occult-kun managed to escape the ship's explosion, crashing down onto solid ground. "Okay, now I definitely believe in aliens," Momo said, breathless. "And I definitely believe in spirits," Occult-kun added, his voice hollow with disbelief. The two of them stood in the aftermath, unsure of what to do next. Momo used her powers to keep Turbo Granny from taking over Occult-kun's body. Momo sighed. "I've lost everything. My phone, my wallet, my uniform." Occult-kun, still uncertain, asked, "How do I break the curse now?" Momo's eyes softened. "You have to defeat Turbo Granny. She's the one who cursed you." "I can't keep dragging you into this," he muttered. "I should part ways with you. You've already done so much for me." Momo shot him a look. "Shut up and pick up your clothes. We're going together." Occult-kun smiled awkwardly. "I really am an awkward guy." Momo's heart fluttered at the sound of his words. Why was her heart racing? She tried to shake it off, telling herself it was just something Ken Takakura would say in his movies. "Wait, what was your name again?" Momo asked, trying to brush it off. "I'm terrible with names." "It's Ken Takakura," he said, and Momo froze. "I refuse to accept that." Momo says, "My name is Ken Takakura." Okarun replies, "Acceptance has nothing to do with it, Miss Ayase." "You, stop it. I don't want to hear it," Momo refuses to acknowledge. Before they can argue more, Turbo Granny's spirit starts to take over Okarun's body again. In fear, and he yells, "Miss Ayase, use your powers! Quick! Oh no, the curse!" Momo reacts immediately. She suppresses the evil spirit back into Okarun. After the chaotic moment passes, she glares at him, clearly fed up. "All right, enough of this. From now on, we're setting some rules. First, you're not allowed to use your real name in front of me anymore. From now on, your name is Okarun, because you're into all this creepy occult stuff, and if you dare to use that name around me again, I'll kill you." Though clearly unhappy, Okarun sighs and reluctantly agrees. As the tension begins to settle, they notice the light of dawn. Okarun glances at Momo nervously. "Turbo Granny won't come out now, right? I mean, it's morning, Miss Ayase." Momo says, "Ghosts and goblins only come out at night. You're fine, but just to be safe, stay at my place until it gets dark again." The two make their way to Momo's house, where she stops him just outside the gate. "One thing you should know," she says casually, "my grandma's very strict about boys. She almost killed my last boyfriend." "What?" Okarun says, panicking. Why are you only telling me this now? Before Momo can reply, Okarun steps into the compound and his entire body bursts into flames. Ah! He screams. Momo quickly grabs him with her powers and hurls him into the nearby river. Okarun, are you okay? She asks, her voice tinged with concern. Dripping wet, Okarun sputters. What just happened? Momo sighs. I forgot there's a mystical barrier around the house. My grandma put it up to keep evil spirits out. She deactivates the seal with a swift motion and gestures for him to try again. Are you sure it's safe now? Okarun asks hesitantly. It's fine. Just go, Momo says impatiently. This time, Okarun steps through the gate without incident, breathing a sigh of relief. Inside, Momo calls out, Grandma, hey, where are you? What the heck? When there's no response, she shakes her head. She's not here. Come on in, she says, waving him inside. But wait outside my room. I need to change. Obediently, Okarun waits in the hallway, but his peace is short-lived. Turbo Granny begins to take over his body again. Miss Ayase, he shouts. The curse, she's taking over again. Momo rolls her eyes and says, turn your face to the wall. As she changes, she uses her powers once more to keep the spirit suppressed, though her patience is clearly wearing thin. After a moment, she tosses a set of clothes at him. Here, put these on, she says. They're my clothes, but they'll be fine. Actually, now that I think about it, you don't even have your you-know-what anymore. Okarun freezes. What are you talking about, he asks. Turbo Granny cursed you, Momo explains casually. She stole your balls. Go ahead, check if you don't believe me. Okarun hesitates, then checks, his face going pale with shock. You've got to be kidding me, he mutters, then glares at her. Like I'd show it to you. Why not? Momo teases with a grin. There's nothing there, right? Come on, what's down there? Show me. Flustered and furious, Okarun shouts, Shut up! This is the worst. What do I do now? Momo says, Don't look at me. I wasn't the one interested in your paranormal nonsense. Okarun looks down, his voice quieter but firm. You're the one who was looking for a fight, and I didn't want to miss the chance. I've always wanted a friend. I was so desperate to talk to you. He pauses, his expression heavy with regret. But I should have realized you live in a completely different world than I do. He glances away, guilt written all over his face. I'm sorry for dragging you into something dangerous. Once it's all resolved, you can go back to ignoring me. Go ahead, make assumptions about people and keep closing yourself off, Momo says. You don't have friends because you push people away, and don't go saying I should ignore you. Just talk about your paranormal stuff with me like we usually do. As she tries to comfort Okarun, the sound of a bell suddenly rings through the house. Could it be your grandma? Okarun asks, his voice uncertain. Momo's expression changes as she hushes him. Keep your voice down. That's not the usual chime. I've never heard this one before. What do you mean? Okarun asks, confused and nervous. My grandma told me there are 2 bells, one for humans and one for evil spirits, Momo explains, her voice dropping to a whisper. Okarun's face pales. Evil spirits? Are you serious? Momo realizes what happened and gasps. It's because I took the talisman off and didn't put it back. If it's an evil spirit, it'll catch fire. But I'll be burned too, Okarun says, panic rising in his voice. You'll be fine if you leave the house area, Momo assures him. Okarun nods quickly. Then wait until I get out first. The two step outside, scanning their surroundings. Okarun frowns. I don't see anything. Where did it go? Momo looks around uneasily, then freezes. There, she says, pointing. A thick black mist appears before them, so dense they can't see through it. What is that? Okarun shouts. It's blocking us, Momo says, panic creeping into her voice. Get off the grounds now. I can't, Okarun replies. There's no way out. It's like there's an invisible wall. Suddenly, Momo starts bleeding from her nose. She checks on Okarun. Are you okay? Okarun nods weakly, but then shouts, Miss Ayase, help me. I'm bleeding too. Momo realizes the black mist is harming them both. This mist is poison, she says. Miss Ayase, look, you can't put the seal back. The gate is blocked, and I won't be able to get out. Before Momo can respond, the ground shakes violently. A massive figure steps through the mist, revealing itself. Found you, the figure says in a deep, menacing voice. You broke your promise. Hand over your organs. What the heck is that? Momo shouts in horror. That's not an evil spirit, Okarun says, his eyes wide. It's an alien, a Flatwoods monster. A what? Momo says, incredulous. It's a 3-meter-tall alien, first seen in Flatwoods, America. It's been spotted in Japan, too, Okarun explains. Then how did it set off the spirit chime? Momo demands. Some studies say people who see spirits can also see UFOs. Spirits and aliens might have similarities, Okarun replies. Momo narrows her eyes. It must be buddies with those aliens from yesterday. The alien moves closer, and Momo grimaces. If we don't act fast, this mist will kill us. But keeping your curse in check means I won't be able to use my powers properly. Let the curse loose. Please, I'll handle it, Okarun insists. The alien suddenly slams its leg into the ground, destroying half of the house. If you can do it, I might be able to control Turbo Granny's power, Okarun shouts as he dodges debris. Easy for you to say. Momo yells back. I haven't mastered my powers yet, and we don't even know if this will work. Despite her doubts, Momo focuses and releases the curse as Okarun requested. The alien lunges at them, but Okarun transforms into his turbo granny form just in time, grabbing Momo and leaping out of harm's way. However, Okarun suddenly grows quiet and withdrawn. "Why are you acting like that?" Momo asks, concerned. "Oops, sorry, it's because I'm an awkward guy," Okarun says, his tone somber. "I told you not to say that," Momo snaps. The alien attacks again, but this time, Okarun's body moves on its own, severing the alien's fingers. Momo stares in shock. "That was so fast. How did you do that?" "I don't know," Okarun says, breathing heavily, "but my body can't keep up with the curse's power. Humans aren't meant to move like this." The alien regenerates its fingers and grows more aggressive. Momo notices its movements. "Wait, is it doing sumo?" "Sumo?" Okarun asks in disbelief. "If we can get its hands to touch the ground, we'll win," Momo declares. "That's brilliant," Okarun says, amazed. "But I can't transform again," he warns. "Then go for its legs. I'll handle the rest," Momo says. Okarun charges at the alien's right leg, blasting through it with Turbo Granny's remaining strength. Momo uses her powers to try and topple the creature, but the alien regenerates its legs before falling. As the alien grabs Momo and slams her into the wall, Okarun screams, "Misayase!" Bruised and senseless, Momo clings to consciousness, determined. She whispers, "I'm at the right distance, outside the Torii gate." Okarun realizes her plan. Using her last strength, Momo grabs Okarun, pulls him close, and places the talisman on the gate. The alien is consumed by flames, reduced to ash before their eyes. "It's over," Momo says weakly, collapsing. "Momo, stay with me," Okarun shouts as he feels Turbo Granny's curse surging. "Don't pass out!" But Momo falls unconscious, leaving Okarun to battle the transformation threatening to consume him. That wraps up Chapter 1 and 2 of Dandadan. We'll dive into the next chapters in the upcoming video, so stay tuned for more. Don't forget to like, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. And make sure to turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss out on future uploads. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.